Hello, and welcome to Radio Free Canada, CFTG, Conscious Revolution Radio. This is our old school broadcast about revolution, and it's intended for adult audiences. So if you're too young or easily offended, please turn the radio off now and go to a pleasant, mainstream, non-offensive radio station. Because around here we talk about revolution, revolutionary concepts like sharing, caring for your neighbor, not being greedy, not being violent, but actually using your intellect that you were given. And we will not be treating you like cattle who needs to be spoon-fed the truth. This is CFTG, Conscious Revolution Radio, and we're here to upset the system. It's actually a true story. That's what we're doing. We're sharing, caring, and that is a revolutionary concept. And I gotta say, that's pretty well what's wrong with mainstream. What's wrong with Western culture is that if you care for somebody else and you're not a greedy bastard, you're a revolutionary. As protected under Section 2 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms using media described under International Fair Usage Copyright Law, we are proud to present CFTG, Conscious Revolution Radio, where we're here to upset the system just in the best way possible. So for the next hour, we're not going to sell you anything. We're not going to tell you to take a vacation to escape that smarmy consumerism life. Depression is brought to you by the institutions and their media. We are not about depression. We are about the truth. Music from Japan. The revolution, it is upon us right now. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining in. The song is called Heartless Scat. It's one of the best Japanese good heavy metal songs that I have heard in a long time. And if you've been over to Asia, if you've been to China, if you've been to Korea online, amazing music. And we're going to bring it to you, okay? We're opening things up at CFTG, and we are playing awesome music just like that. But we're also going to foment a nice, polite rock and roll revolution, old school style. We're going to talk about revolutionary concepts like not being a violent asshole, like the government. Or how about sharing? A very good thing to do for everybody. Let's share with each other now. Unlike the corporations that the government protects. And let's give to our neighbors freely without expecting return. The exact opposite of good Christian Western culture. No loaves and fishes for anybody anymore. Oh, yes, you must work at a corporation or you starve to death and die. Never mind, there aren't corporate jobs enough for everybody, but that's the way things work. Starve to death and die. Be polite. You were born after 1965. You're screwed. So just be happy about it and be Canadian. That's what we're being sold. That's what we're being sold right now. So I think everybody got the fact that we're not really going to stand up for that, right? Because we're here to share, we're here to care, and that's a strong thing. We're here to use our brains and work hard and smart. We're the millennials. We have literally been given 1/20th of what the baby boomers were. And we're expected to shoulder fiat currency loans, central bank loans. We're expected to pay for military. We're expected to shut up and accept all of the high grocery prices. We're expected to shut up and accept high rent prices, high prices on everything. and do it politely when it's easy to solve. So that's not going to happen. By talking about it, by being confident we can change things, and by turning off the fear machine, the baby boomer, I hate my own species machine, and turning on independent media for an intelligent world, we are going to change things. We're here to talk about logic, about statistics, about stone cold psychos who are in government, who are just screwing up everything with the corporations, and we're here to stop that. Now, for your revolutionary needs, we welcome you to the next hour of non-commercial, non-mainstream radio. A great big middle finger to the corporations screwing us. Stick around. Coming up next, what to do with a politician who lies. That's the way we're starting the show. Feel good. The revolution is here. Dire Straits and CFTG.
Look at them yo-yos. That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. Now that ain't working. That's the way you do it. Let me tell you, damn guys ain't dumb. Maybe get a blister on your little finger. Maybe get a blister on your thumb. We got to install microwave ovens, custom kitchen deliveries. We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs. To the little faggot with the earring and the makeup. Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. The little faggot got his own jet airplane. The little faggot, he's a millionaire. We got to install microwave ovens, custom kitchen deliveries. We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs. Move on, move on. What's that? Hawaiian noises. He's banging on the bongos like a chimpanzee. Oh, that ain't working. That's the way you do it. Get your money for nothing. Get your chicks for free. We got to install microwave oven, custom kitchen deliveries. We got to move these refrigerators. We got to move these color TVs. Listen here, now, that ain't working. That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. Money for nothing. Chicks for free. Money for nothing. Chicks for free. Look at that, look at that. Chicks for free. Money for nothing. Chicks for free. Easy, easy money. Easy, easy chicks for free. Easy, easy money.
music right there, not meant to offend, and especially my LGBTQ friends. But that's the lyrics, and that's the way that people talked in 1984, 85 when the Dire Straits recorded that. Mark Knopfler comments on that, and he says that back then he was literally in a store, and there was some repairmen, installation guys, and they were there to pick up some refrigerators and everything that he's talking about. Though that is almost verbatim what people were talking like back then. That's a snapshot. Okay. And it offends a lot of LGBTQ people. I understand that. And I love you. Okay. Don't get bent out of shape. That's the way that people talked. And that's what he's talking about. He's talking about, ironically, holy fuck, listen to these guys, man. That's what they sound like. And man, did the right wingers ever get offended that they had been outed? Okay. Think about it. I'm Darren Howard at CFTG. I'm there for you, okay? Left wing or right wing. We need both of our wings to flap up high and crap all over the prison fascist state that we are inheriting right now. Oh, by the way, you're supposed to pay for the prison fascist state, and make sure you're very polite while you pay for the fascist prison state. And if you don't think it's a fascist prison state, I dare you to live for 1 year without money. You're free until you don't have money. And then you're in jail, baby. Oh, yeah. Multiple forms of jail, too. And that's what we have to get away from. You see, CFTG, we need an actual sort of mainstream thing that is talking about reality. Okay, that's what we need. And it's not that mainstream doesn't talk about reality. In many statements, documentaries, many small news segments, they actually put facts out there. But it's always with that mainstream spin of, well, this is how good the system's running, and we got to keep the system is the underlying thing. It's never the conclusion that, wow, is this system ever fucked? Okay? You ever notice that? No matter what the news story is, unless it results in more money for corporations, it's not a solution they're looking for. And I'm sorry, you're a radical. You're thinking about feeding the homeless and housing them. What kind of radical nonsense? Do you know what that will do to home prices? You know that Safeway will lose some profit? Oh. What are you, just some kind of anarchist? You know what? I guess I fucking am. Okay, going on with the anarchy thing, because we used to grow our own food, okay? Now, I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. There's 1.1 million or 1.3 million people here now. And what we used to do, if you take a look at infrastructure, business, and the way that trade works, we studied it ever since London, England became one of the first nations, or the first Western nations, to have 1 million people in it. Okay. Got a story about that, about the Aztecs and Mayans later. But talking right now, this London, England hit 1 million people. But it supported 3 million people surrounding it. They had everything that they need because they had a shitload of people that needed a shitload of food, textiles, and just raw resources in order to make shit happen in London, England. And if you take a look at the amount of people that were involved, 95% of the surrounding areas of London, England, were involved with food and food production, and they easily fed themselves and all the rich people and were assholes and shipped good food out while they left rotting food for the peasants who grew it. True story. If you study any economics, economic history, macroeconomics, you have heard the story of supply and demand during a non-technological or non-industrialized nation. And then we analyzed the metrics of what happened when industrialization occurred. And now we have 3% of the fucking population producing our food, usually in California, leaving us victim to California. And welcome to empty store shelves and jacked up prices from foreign investors allowed to monopolize our food services. So we have a solution for that. www.positive-action.ca. It's as simple as that. You probably didn't think I was going there, eh? You know, to talk about the website. You probably thought, sounds like he's going to rant again and say, fuck the government and, don't burn down City Hall. But make sure you go highlight the fact that a lot of people are really pissed at you. And, that's what you thought I was going to say. But I just, www.positive-action.ca. See, that's how cheesy mainstream that I can be. I know, it's bad. I feel bad. I'm going to take myself out now for a good mainstream spanking. I'm sorry, was that out loud? No, Freudian slip. I'm Darren Howard at CFTG. Let's hear from the chorus in the background. Make sure you stick around for the next hour. Good spankings for everybody and good rock and roll, okay? The conscious revolution includes feeling good. I want you to feel good that we can save the world.
I've been waiting, elevated, hanging on the line. Hate to say it, your new favorites going out of style. Through the windows, broken heroes, they're just wooden wires. Hallelujah, spread the news, but don't believe the
Music right there, the Dead Daisies, one of those really rocking songs. And you know what? The way they put that one together is just totally old school. Fits the old school kind of theme that we've going on today. Because I had that inspiration this morning. I was just sitting there looking, going, yeah, we did a whole week last week, and we kind of rocked it. We rocked it hard, said a lot of things that needed to be said. But honestly, we haven't gone old school in a while. I haven't really looked at things, okay, and talked about and said about the things that really have to happen. I wrote an article back in, oh my goodness, I am going to date myself now, okay, my apologies. I wrote an article in 2011, that was a follow-up to one that I that I wrote in the 1990s, in 1992, when my first kids were very young, okay. And what it said was, right now we are treating high school students like children, okay, and it's got to end. And what I was looking at in the 1990s was the fact that I'm going to school and I'm helping out in the community, right? We had time and money to do that. So we were connected directly to the church and the school and everyone. I'm not an avid church goer, but I'm still there to support some of the good work they were doing. And, you know, I'm always there and I'm around. But I notice that they're treating teenagers like total children. So when my kids got into high school, they were treated like absolute morons. That's all they did. They treated my son and my daughter like they were morons. And they made the biggest deal about the smallest thing. And I said, are you kidding me? When I was a teenager, 15 years old, okay, for instance, I was making $7 and $8 an hour, the equivalent of $25 an hour now, you know, back then, because I could buy a pack of cigarettes for $3.65. And when I was into underage drinking, sorry, but I really was, late 1980s, it was $5 for a jug of beer. That's for real. And we were taught in an old world way the way to handle huge cash relatively to the rest of the planet and to myself, and what to do with that cash and the alcohol and fun that we were having. That was part of our education system. Now it's not. There is no way that they're telling kids to grow up, be adults, be self-supportive, be independent, be absolutely outspoken, stand up for what is right, stand against, and stand against what is wrong. Never, ever put up with a bully. Go and take them out, okay? Don't fucking sit there and take it from a bully. Don't run away and stuff like that. Make sure you're part of the education process. Be there. Save your ass, too, when you have to. Okay? That's what we learn, but that's not what is being taught by by us. Okay? Those people who have been around the block once and still don't know what the fuck they're doing are teaching, and they're running school boards, and they're teaching kids like they're little fucking automatons. Sit in straight lines, learn useless shit, and don't fucking get on with things, okay? Don't use your brain cells. So I have an acid test for you. I have one of those questions that you can answer yourself because you're intelligent. This is what I mean about independent media for an intelligent world. Things that make you think. And we're talking to some educators, and I'm talking about advanced educators talking about how to turn Einstein on in your kid. I'm teaching people how to do that online right now, okay? How to make geniuses out of your kids. And it all comes down to puzzle solving and centering of self. If you were really part of an education system that was preparing you for a modern, intelligent future where people can read, the opposite of the system that designed us, okay, if you were doing that for kids and you were preparing them for the future, in kindergarten you would be giving them mazes to do and small three-dimensional puzzles to do. And then that little three-dimensional puzzle would move up to a more complex one in grade 2. And a more complex, mental puzzle in grade 2. In grade 5, you would have pretty complex puzzles, like Rubik's Cubes and, calculus. By grade 8, you would be doing these great big Rubik's Cubes that have like 18 sides to them, and it's just ridiculous, the kids that can fix them. That's what is missing. It's not preparing you. It's just record information and regurgitate. That's all you do in high school. If you were really part of an education system, you would be teaching kids how to use search engines effectively, how to solve physical problems. You would constantly, every day, put them in front of the shop with some wood or some metal or some paint or some clay, and you would be telling them, oh, hey, do this or don't do this, or just let your brain go. And that would prepare a kid for the future. It's called Homeschool Cool. www.positive-action.ca. And guess what it's about? It's about solutions. I want you to step with me into the future. We've solved all the government war greed problem. We're all getting enough food and shelter. We're not worried about small petty crime problems, and we're solving some really big ones. That's where I'm from. I'm from the future, and I'm telling you, you are worth more.
Rockin' steady in her daddy's car. She got the stereo with the big guitars, and that's alright. Yeah, alright. I got the itch and a restless soul. She come with the wind, gonna go for a walk tonight. Yeah, that's alright. Girl, we
Music from David Lee Roth, and it's actually a pretty cool album, the Just Like Paradise. But, you know, he took a lot of flack because David Lee Roth went off and did his own thing. Of course, Sammy Hagar steps into Van Halen's shoes. Pretty good move, yes? I don't know, man. There's controversy for you from a rock radio station. I have an opinion on Van Halen, David Lee Roth versus Sammy Hagar. David Lee Roth deserves absolutely all of the props that he earned empowering Van Halen for as long as he did. But whatever on egos and opinion, nobody knows what really went on in the studio for Sammy Hagar to come in and step in. And Sammy Hagar did an awesome job. Okay. I Can't Drive 55, Sammy Hagar, absolutely excellent music from old school 1980s heavy metal. And of course, off the heavy metal soundtrack, he was the lead guy. He did the song Heavy Metal for the heavy metal soundtrack, which is epic. And that soundtrack, along with Ozzy Osbourne, that is rock and roll paradise. But that's me. Now go ahead and, you know, actually, I owned a radio station. I owned a record store way back in the 2010s. And we used to sit around, drink coffee, and talk about controversial things like whether or not Sammy Hagar was cool, or, you know, what they should have done about Def Leppard. Okay? Nothing had to be done. They were fine the way they were, and that's the way that things go. I'm sorry. Hot dogs come in packs of 8. Hot dog buns in packs of 12. Okay. Welcome to the show. Hi there, I'm Darren Howard. This is CFTG, brought to you by www.positive-action.ca, and of course, Radio Free Canada at Facebook, at Positive Action U on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. I'm a real person, and I like playing with the videos and coolness on my phone, just like everybody else. So if you got a chance to join up, these are the preliminary shows, the pre-shows, the warm-up shows, the beta version, the test version, as it were. These are the shows that will be remembered as the good old days before, of course, we ended up on stage in front of arena-sized crowds, all chanting, "Revolution! Revolution!" And when we came out on the microphone and we said to everybody in this screaming auditorium, we are here to use our brains and to rock the planet at the same time. And boom, all of the pyrotechnics go up, and then everybody celebrates. We all have lots of fun, solve the world's problems, and wake up in the morning saying, God, that was epic. Okay, I'm one of those guys. Okay? I worked in front-end rock and roll industry from the 80s through ever, and I've been up on stage a couple of times. I've been very, very privileged and lucky just to be in the right place at the right time and walk on the cool stages, and I want to take you there with me. So we're looking for people to help out with this little revolutionary thing, and throughout December and, of course, January, February, we're going to be sort of not recruiting, but just sort of opening things up to people who are doing things and people who are interested in doing things. We want to hear from the bloggers. We want to hear from the videographers. We want to hear from the TikTokers and the walkers and the, you know, all of that shit. Because we can save the world. I can't stress that enough. We have the tools. We have everything that's necessary. It's just that the Bank of Canada and the corporate banks that are bringing you the news are content to make money using existing systems that suck with the wrong people enforcing those systems. That's it. There's nothing okay, come on, look at how much they finance. They will finance an airline that only employs a small number of people, say that, oh, that saves the country if we save this airline. They'll finance the corporations to the tune of 1,500% more than you. And then say, I'm sorry, it's just too expensive to run Canada. We can't afford human beings. So we're going to have to phase out the human presence in Canada and, you know, cut down, bring in, you know, immigrants from third world countries that appreciate living 5 to 1 bedroom, you know, because we like those people. But, you know, if you were born here, sorry, you're being phased out. we encouraged all of your parents and grandparents to sell their houses. You're screwed. There's no culture or anything to save because it's a strip mall, parking lot, and Amazon. I think we've got things covered. That's your world. There you go. I am so happy to be alive today. You know that?
Hail, hail, the black sheep. We are blood, we are family.
Okay, if you want to contribute or help the contributors, let us know.
Call me an outcast, call me a freak. Watch those bullets ricochet straight off of me, 'cause I belong where right is wrong. No lost cause like the good books say. Don't give a damn what people think. I march along to a different song. Oh, I feel it deep in my bones. I was born to break every curse, every chain. So I'm singing, hail, hail, the black sheep. We are blood, we are family. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. Hail, hail, the black sheep. Thicker than water, thick as deep. Oh, how the river runs deep. We are blood, we are family. Hail, hail, the black sheep. Can't shut me up, won't bite my tongue. Speak my truth till the day is done. I'm not ashamed. I own my pain. Never was lost, but I found my way. Always knew I'd show my scars one day. For the rules I broke, help me build my throne. Whoa, and I'm right where I belong. Now I'm singing, hail, hail, the black sheep. We are blood, we are family. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. Hail, hail, the black sheep. Thicker than water, thick as deep. Oh, how the river runs deep. We are blood, we are family. Hail, hail, the black sheep. From the streets to the gutters, we're sisters and brothers. One nation under one love, one color. Born to be black sheep. Hail, hail, the black sheep. We are blood, we are family. Pray the Lord my soul to keep. Hail, hail, the black sheep. Thicker than water, thick as deep. Oh, how the river runs deep. We are blood, we are family. Hail, hail, the black sheep. From the streets to the gutters, we're sisters and brothers. We are blood, we are family. Hail, hail, the black sheep.
Brand new music right there. Radio Free Canada. Hi there. I'm Darren Howard. And it has been an awesome day today because it was like that old school sound. And I got to say, if you've been here for a while now, I come from mainstream promotions, rock and roll promotions from Vancouver to Calgary, based around Kelowna forever in my career. And I'd like to say a hearty thank you and hello and I love you to all of my friends back in the Okanagan. We came out here, work, studio, etc., etc. Things are moving along correctly at the Municipal Sustainability Project. But boy, oh boy, do we ever miss things in BC. Okay, we got to make it back. We got to have a big bash this year coming up in 2023 because we've got some major announcements. And I'm thinking that we should be doing it downtown in the towers and out in the hood out here in Calgary. And we should probably hit the beach, okay? And the ski hills and maybe do the Okanagan thing too. And then, of course, we got to hit the ocean. Vancouver, I think we're going to have to come and hang out. It's really cool being with you here today. And you know what? Old school being what it is, we haven't really slammed the oligarchy enough. Do you think we've slammed the oligarchy enough? Because I don't. And yesterday we were making that point. And last week, I think it was Thursday or Friday. No, I think it was Thursday. We talked about banking and the way the oligarchs work. And what's going on right now is just plain and simple. This is the simplest point that I have made about anything. Okay, because, you know, I really like making sure everybody has lots of trails to go down and lots of rabbit holes to jump into. So one of the rabbit holes to jump into is just very, very simple math from the Bank of Canada and our federal government. They have $462 billion in a federal budget every year in Ottawa. It would take about $10 billion to solve things like small poverty and to end things like small crime created by small poverty. They say it's small poverty when somebody starves to death and dies, you know, going homeless. That's the way the government looks at you. That's the way Justin Trudeau and the Liberals and their partners, the NDP and Jagmeet Singh, and of course the Conservatives with Pierre Poilievre, that's the way they think things should go. The Bank of Canada finances our government to the tune of $462 billion a year. Just make it up out of nowhere. And then they explain to us how it's just too darn expensive to support us. But here's $70 billion, you know, that's for military. Here's $100 billion, that's for paychecks. But not $10 billion for 39 million Canadians to have a social safety net of any type whatsoever. $10 billion. Our conclusion, in an old school way, just to make it simple, when you've got $462 and $10 would feed your family, and you take that $462 and you give the family 70 cents, and you go buy yourself some guns and blow up some shit, you are not a good person. You are a bad person. That's what we've got. In a clinical, mathematical sense, the federal government of Canada, the bureaucrats who are not elected, with a very small number of elected people to rubber stamp everything the bureaucrats do, our federal government amounts to a committee that has a sociopath agenda. And I say it, CFTG, prove me wrong. Music from U2 and the Conscious Revolution. That's the question. This is independent media for an intelligent world. Radio Free Canada back on the air and proud to be here. We can save the world. Believe it every day.
I want to be with you, night and day.
music. Absolutely epic music right here. Hi there, I'm Darren Howard. It's Radio Free Canada off the vinyl turntable. The Snap, Crackle, and Pop, do not be alarmed. We play vinyl around here like mega times, like all the time. And so the Snap, Crackle, and Pop, the occasional sound of the needle dragging across old, cheap vinyl that we dealt with yesterday. It's kind of funny. You're doing a revolution, and then you realize how low quality the records we actually listen to. I remember that we used to keep loonies on and change on top of the tone arm in the nightclubs in the 1980s when I started out. Okay, and I mean, we had records. We had 2 record players. We had no pitch control. And we had a board that sounded like something out of Radio Shack. It went into a processor that desperately tried to pull any bass out of it whatsoever and take a lot of that shred your head off, high end. And we just boomed the nightclubs in the 1980s. It was ridiculously loud and stupid. I got the job because I worked in radio and I knew how to run the equipment. That's a true story. Okay, I started off on the all-night show in radio. Okay, I worked from midnight to 6 a.m., 1985. Okay, I had almost a year before I went to radio and broadcasting school. But different story. But yeah, I started off my nights doing, picking out records and then taking those records and, buying more albums and more albums and more albums to go and do nightclubs in the 1980s. We're getting ready to do the same thing. Okay, if you want to be part of the action and to get out and rock and roll like we can do and safely and have fun and non-violently and be part of Radio Free Canada, upset the system a little bit, have some fun, share, like sharing. Sharing is such a good thing. All the boys and girls in the government and in the corporations just simply are not educated enough to share like, humans are supposed to. So we're going to start some, shows up and get some things going. If you're interested in volunteering, both online and offline, get a hold of me. I'm Darren Howard, www.positive-action.ca. And of course, Radio Free Canada at Facebook, at Positive Action U on Twitter and TikTok. I'm a real human being doing cool videos about the days that I do cool videos. So that's as simple as that. We're also going to be playing awesome music. If you got a request for music with the revolution, say, oh, yes, I have some intellectual rock and roll input to give you. We're not going to just do rock and roll. We've got a few surprises coming up from the Radio Free Channel world, and it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, so we do need producers from like every genre to start coming in, and of course, my favorite, the journalists, short subject guys. We really do need your cameras running. We need you to start talking about the revolution on high prices and the way that we can solve this BS that's going on, and of course, look at real statistics and real numbers. Okay, I think we're all up to doing that. I think we have a winning formula. It's Radio Free Canada. Thank you so much for showing up. And what I'm talking about in a very old school way is one very important thing. Don't lose hope, rest when you have to, and get back to work when you can. We can save the world. So let's just do that. Wait. That's live music. But that was the cheesiest fucking thing to happen yet. Okay, cheesy because it's live radio and I just fucked up large, and cheesy because cheese. We're gonna follow this guy, Missile Sky. I want you to look him up, okay? He said, I'm not gonna use my voice for corporate BS. I'm Darren Howard, neither am I, on CFTG.
When I hear you sing, I begin to shake. Nothing else matters, nothing feels the same. I know you're afraid you can never replace my love. Face to face, like the dreams in my head, but you put to death my love. I can't forget what it feels like. Oh, I can't forget what it feels like.
Radio Free Canada, Missile Sky right there. Absolutely awesome music. I want you to go and check it out because it's so worthwhile to hear the new music. People say, oh, there's no new music and the new music doesn't have anything. Bullshit. You go on YouTube, you go on Reverb Nation, you go on anything but mainstream producers, and you'll find the soul and the voice of the future, because that's the whole thing about mainstream. Mainstream music, they've, capitalized and copyrighted everything so much to death that nobody can use it for anything. They're basically erasing the Beatles from music history because you can't share the music. You can't podcast it, you can't do it and have fun with it because they're just erasing our rock and roll history. So they buy these things and they say, oh, well, now the stuff that they're producing at EMI or now the stuff they're producing at Warner sucks. So the new music sucks. No, a very, very small number of music producers and a very small number of music distributors are sucking. That's it. That's the end of that. We can solve it simply by going on independent media. But the important thing to remember right now is that our independent media, our ability to stream, our ability to share, and to profit from our sharing is being severely limited by the government. We have a fascist Canadian authority right now in Canada. It's as simple as that. They're going to stop us from streaming. They're going to censor anything that we have to say that questions the government. So if you question the government, you will get censored. And that's got to end. Bill C-11 is coming up right now. It's on our focus. It's in our sights. We're going to do something about it because we're CFDG. It's time for change. Okay? So, blessed be. It looks like we're actually under an hour. Man. For those of you who have been here at the beginning of this journey, honestly, wow, made it under an hour. I think that's 3 times in a row. Is that right? 8 shows, and now it's 7 shows, and now it's 3 times in a row. We actually made it under an hour. Good for us. Yeah, yay. Everybody gets high fives and free coffee. I know the coffee's free, but, we share that too. Imagine that. Hi there. Sorry. Hi there. I'm Darren Howard, a little distracted right at the end because people are smiling and then looking at me like I'm on crack. So I'm a real human being. I make mistakes, and thanks for putting up with my mistakes for the last hour because it was an adventure today. I don't know why, but it certainly was. Okay. I'm going to finish things off old school like I did in the old school heavy metal nightclubs that I used to work in. When we had epic nights, and I mean we had epic nights, I'm going to talk about how fun life really used to be. And when we had the end of the epic night, we had a slow song, but it was a rock and roll song. And it was terribly a snapshot of what we were going through as men and women in the 1980s. And it was bizarre and weird and fun, and it just a blast. So more of that to come. But today I'm just going to leave you with some ZZ Top because I can. Thanks for joining me. It's been my privilege to bring you the last hour of real commentary about the truth and the future. I'm going to get off. I've got some media to produce for you. But I want you to believe in the future. I want you to believe that we can save the world, and join me anytime that you need a bit of a filling station for everything that you're doing to fix things. If you're here to fix the world, I'm here with you. This is CFTG, Conscious Revolution Radio.
What